Okay, keeping your head still, please follow my finger with your eyes. A lot of health tech sometimes looks really icky, and I was like, not my app. Why is Snapchat able to put these silly ears and this thing on my face, but a room full of 300 medics really struggles to track eye movement? My name's Hamzah, and I'm one of the co-founders of Mindstep, a brain clinic for everyone.
What is Mindstep? How would you define it? Someone's never heard about it before. What does it do? How can it help you?
So it's an app that deals with the 5 most prevalent brain and mental health conditions. That's anxiety, depression, early stage dementia, sometimes called mild cognitive impairment, brain fog, and migraine. And what it does is it screens your brain using some cognitive tests and games on your phone, figures out what might be going on, might not be going on, and then it will build you what we call a care plan to help you get better.
Can we talk a bit about the tests? Like, what are some of those tests?
In Alzheimer's, there's a theory that you lose your memory, unfortunately, but specifically you lose the memory associated with mapping a room to start with. So you often hear patients might go into a room and not quite know why they're there or where they are, or you'll hear them get disorientated very easily. So knowing that, we built a test that used augmented reality. So we call it the balloon test. It puts 3 balloons using AR kit in the room. And then your objective is to find the balloons as quickly as possible, and you sort of tap on them as you go. You and me will hopefully find them fairly quickly and scan and map the room in a logical way. Whereas someone with mild cognitive impairment or early Alzheimer's might struggle with that. And then we use all of that data, use Apple's technology, and then we can feed that into machine learning algorithms that can help sort of classify whether the patient might have that condition or not.
Mad. That's crazy.
And the important thing is that it doesn't just use one test and it's oh, definitively because of this. Then it uses a wealth of different data. And I think that's really important in clinical medicine. You should never, base your diagnosis or even an intuition off one thing. You have to take a holistic view of the whole person, and that's what AI does really well. Sometimes, we have internal biases. We might put a lot of weight on the fact that they might drink or they might have this behavior, whereas the AI can't do that. It doesn't care what means or what has this social connotation or that. It will objectively weigh them all out, which I think is really cool.
Can you talk to me a bit about the technology with the eye and this idea that you are able to potentially diagnose people with particular mental health issues just by tracking the movement of an eyeball? Am I right in that description?
So what they're doing, I could do it on, do you want to?
Go on then.
So basically, you have to be equidistant to the patient, and then I'd be okay, keeping your head still, please follow my finger with your eyes. Okay, and I'm drawing basically a H. And what I'm trying to do as well, whilst multitasking, I'm looking at your pupils, I'm looking...
The eyeball is moving
smoothly, or when it gets to the end, it can sometimes do something called nystagmus, which means it's kind of shuddering a bit, and that can be indicative of a bunch of different things, and it's actually really hard to get right. You have to be top level, wealth of experience. I was using the dog filter to send a picture of myself to my mates or something, and I was why is Snapchat able to put these silly ears and this thing on my face, but a room full of 300 medics really struggles to track eye movement, and it's done so incorrectly and so, crudely.
The old format.
Yeah, well, it's just difficult to do, and I can't tell you how many millimeters your eye's moving, but Snapchat is pretty much mapping it perfectly. And then I realized that what we do in neurology and psychiatry and mental health could potentially be translated onto a phone.
So that was light bulb moment.
That was the light bulb moment, and that was kind of and there's a lot of stuff I realized, and loads of benefits of doing that. For example, it's all now objective. My interpretation versus your interpretation of someone's eye movement is now kind of standardized. We were collecting loads of useful clinical data, so we were understanding patterns on a population level. Once Mindstep started getting a lot of distribution, and there was an AI in the background, so with each patient or each user, it was getting a little bit better at diagnosing and understanding what to look for, kind of like a doctor would, essentially, the more patients it sees.
The NHS in this country is struggling to meet demand. What is the gap that Mindstep is trying to fill?
if you looked at it on a curve, for example, we've got like one really engaged group of people around the age of like 24 to 32, and they are 70% women, which to us was like a bit of an initial surprise because we didn't build a brand or product or necessarily for the female demographic. However, speaking to like consumers of the product, we realized that it was solving a lot of pain points in the female mental health journey. For unfortunately, there's still a lot of stigma and judgment and dismissal of symptoms, and they felt that Mindstep, you know, it's an AI, it's going to listen to you, it's not going to judge you, it will always be able to output something that is objective, and I think that really resonates. I also think there's also a lot of options on Mindstep, and I think that's really important, both for the male and female demographics, but generally for the younger population, that really resonates as well. And then we have like a slightly elderly group, which is like 55 plus, and they are people who might be worried about their aging, might be worried about cognitive impairment. But sometimes, you know, going to see your doctor about dementia is scary and not something you might readily want to do immediately. But we're looking to hopefully like work with the NHS some point down the line and hopefully maybe make it more free or have, you know, the national healthcare systems that better subsidize that. Obviously, if you're worried about your symptoms, you should go see a doctor. But maybe it's like helping you take those steps and on that journey, or actually being an adjunct to seeing your doctor.